Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Good morning. I'd like to call the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. And we do have a quorum present. All 5 commissioners are present in chambers. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then stay standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Before we approve our agenda, we'll wait for our guests to come in and sit down. Thank you and welcome. Good morning. First off, we will look at the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, any pre-decisional? Commissioner Tolman?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other topic to go into executive session? With that, there will be, we'll approve our agenda with amending it by removing pre-decisional from the executive session part. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd.
I move to accept the agenda as amended.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the agenda as amended by removing pre-decisional. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Commissioners, next order is approval of the minutes of 9/30/21. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion by Commissioner Shanefield to approve the 9/30/21 minutes as presented. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
We have a second by Commissioner Tolman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Also, next up is the approval of the minutes of 10/5/21, which is the regular minutes. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Excuse me, Chairman, do you mean the intergovernmental minutes?
Excuse me, you've got to back up. I believe the intergovernmental was the first one that we approved.
Okay, all
The
right.
second one is approval of our regular minutes from our regular meeting of 10/5/21.
I would move to.
We have a motion by Commissioner Tolman to approve the minutes of 10/5/21. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is the acceptance of the bills as commissioners, approval of the county vouchers and warrants, approval of monthly rebates, and approval of the abates and rebates. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith.
I move that we approve the EALs, the monthly reports, the abates and rebates as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. We have a motion to approve as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Next order of business is tab C. We have public hearing on budget amendments. The first amendment to, we have 2 budget amendments. One is for Memorial Hospital, Sweetwater County, and second is employee benefits. So To present those, Ms. Bonnie Berry. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners.
Welcome. Glad to have you here.
The first budget resolution we have this morning is Resolution 21-10-CL-01. This is a budget amendment for Memorial Hospital of Sweetwater County. This budget amendment increases their overall expenditures for fiscal year 21. Originally budgeted was $93,381,731. This budget amendment increases their entire budget by $5,681,191 to a total of $99,062,923. This is for last fiscal year, and this does not increase any expenditures going to the hospital out of the general fund or from the county. This is just for the hospital's overall expenditures. So I just wanted to let you know that, let you and the public know that this isn't more money coming from the county. This is just required by state statute that the county commission approve the hospital's overall budget. I will welcome any questions. Just a reminder, we do have to open this up to a public hearing before this can be approved.
Thank you,
Or
Ms.
voted on.
Berry. Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Berry regarding the first budget amendment for Memorial Hospital of Sweetwater County?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Toman.
is this due to COVID funds coming in probably?
Yes,
Increase their
COVID,
budget?
they did have more COVID funds, and because of COVID, they had more expenses as well. So this is for the expenditure portion.
Other questions, commissioners? If there's no further questions at this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing regarding Resolution 21-10-CL-01, which is the budget amendment for Memorial Hospital, which increases their budget from $93,381,732 to $62,923. Floor is now open. Public hearing. Any comment? Any comment? Nothing coming in on the web? Last call for public comment regarding Memorial Hospital budget amendment. Floor is closed. Commissioners, what's your pleasure regarding Resolution 21-10-CL-01, which is a budget amendment for Sweetwater County Memorial Hospital or Memorial Hospital of Sweetwater County?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith,
I move that we approve Resolution 21-10-CL-01 as presented.
have a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. And any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is the budget amendment for the employee benefits. Ms. Berry, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The next budget resolution is Resolution 21-10-CL-02. This is a budget amendment for this current fiscal year 22. This is our first one of the year. It increases the expenditures in the general fund for employee benefits operating in the amount of $10,286.25. It decreases the general county reserves, general reserve amount by $10,286.25. So we're moving money from reserves into employee benefits operating. I'd be happy to answer any questions. As a reminder, we do need to open this up to public comment before it can be voted on.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. Commissioners, any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Bonnie, can you give us a reason why this is coming? Why do we already have to do a budget amendment and what the specific purpose is?
Well, this budget specifically doesn't have very much money left in it. I think it only has a few $100s, and there is a bill that is outstanding that needs to be paid, that we're waiting for a budget amendment before it can be paid. It is the amount that is paid, that is being paid to Mountain States. That's what I
Okay.
was told.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if Gary is here or on Zoom to answer any further questions, but I was told it was for billing from Mountain States, and this is the
Okay,
total amount.
That
Mountain
clarifies it.
States
Thank you.
billed.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, Bonnie. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Thank you, Bonnie. Any other questions, commissioners? With that, I'll open up the floor for public hearing regarding resolution 21-10-CL-02, which is a budget amendment to remove from our general reserves $10,286.25 to the employee benefits operating fund. The floor is now open. Public comment. Public comment? Last call for public comment. Floor is closed. Commissioners, with regard to resolution 21-10-CL-02, a budget amendment for the from the general county reserves to the employee benefits expenditure accounts. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith,
I move that we approve resolution 21-10-CL-02 as presented.
we've got a motion to approve the resolution as presented by Commissioner Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. As we move forward. Bear with me as I work on my agenda here. Very good. Thank you. Up next, thank you, Miss Berry. She left already. Up next under tab B is public hearing from planning and zoning. And we have several of those this morning. To be here to present for us will be Mr. Bingham, our Director of Planning and Zoning.
Nope.
Mr. Bingham? Oh, no. All right. We have a fill-in for Mr. Bingham. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've got 7 public hearings today. The first one is a public hearing for Wes and Jennifer Woodward. They are applying for a zone map amendment at their address of 363 Turret Drive. It's in north of Rock Springs. They are looking to change their zone, which is currently zoned mixed residential, to retail business. The property that they currently live on is 1 acre, and this also meets the minimum district size for the retail business zone district as well. And from the Sweetwater County zoning regulations, a retail business is described as a district that is intended to accommodate retail sales of consumer goods and services directly to the customer. Due to the nature of the services provided, B zones may be appropriately adjacent to residential areas if adequate setbacks and design standards are implemented. Good design and adequate off-street parking should be a part of any new area devoted to this zone. It may take the form of a small shopping center or a small central business district for a small community. Jennifer is wanting to start a nursery business called Simply Sunshine. She's hoping to do cut flowers, trees, seed germinations, as well as the seasonal things that come along with operating a nursery. Her property is located north of Rock Springs. As you can see, the mixed residential and light industrial completely surround her property, making it a very good location for a retail business zone to go in. It's a good mix of the area already. The area is already used to just a little bit more increased traffic due to the light industrial that's located in the area as well. She has also applied for a construction permit, and this is the site plan that she submitted. As you can see in the northwest corner of the property, there is ample parking spaces for parking that will be off street. In the rear, you can see that there is 1 greenhouse that is being proposed. It will be 1,200 square feet, and there is also a proposed high tunnel that's also 1,200 square feet. Again, there's ample room in the back for the public to walk around and look at everything that she has to offer to the county. Here are the site photos that were taken when the public notice sign was posted. And we will jump right into the review criteria for this zone map amendment. Criteria number 1, the amendment is consistent and compatible with the current resolution and comprehensive plan. This amendment is compatible with both of these documents, and the zone map amendment would be creating a local option for residents within Sweetwater County to purchase nursery plants locally. I know this is something that Rock Springs doesn't currently have. And people can come over to Green River and get plants over here, but it would keep something a little bit more local for the Rock Springs residents of the county. Criteria number 2 is a proposed zone suitable for the existing topography and creates buildable lots. This amendment is in a location that the existing topography will be suitable for the retail business. Per section 11D of the Sweetwater County zoning regulations, nurseries require 1 parking space for every 500 square feet of gross floor area. There's room for parking near the front of the property for the required 5 spaces that it will need for her per what she has proposed building wise. The back is also very open for the greenhouse and high tunnels that she has proposed as well. Criteria number 3 talks about the proposed zoning is compatible with existing or allowable uses in the adjacent properties and neighboring zone districts. As I've mentioned before, the land is surrounded by R2, which is mixed residential, and I1, which is light industrial. This area is a great location for retail business. The lots are bigger, it meets minimum district size, and as I've stated before, it's also, the area is also used to just a little bit higher traffic load than a typical residential is due to the light industrial nature of the area. Criteria number 4, the proposed zoning can demonstrate adequate public facilities, including roads, drainage, potable water, sanitary sewer, police and fire protection exist or will serve the existing requests at the time such facilities are needed. This is existing property, and all of these criteria are already met, and nothing will need to be increased for the nursery business to operate on this property. Criteria number 5 deals with the community not adversely affecting adjacent property owners, communities to the health and safety welfare of the residents of Sweetwater County. This amendment does not affect any of the adversely affect any adjacent properties. We have actually, in fact, received 1 formal comment from a neighbor who is in support of this zone map amendment change. And criteria number 6, this request conforms to all applicable provisions of this resolution. The site meets the minimum district size for a retail business, which is 1 acre, and conforms with all the other Sweetwater County zoning regulations. We have received 1 public comment from Jess and Shauna Egbert Family Trust, and they said, sounds good to us. They were very much in favor of it. And we have also received 1 agency comment from Kinder Morgan, and she states, I have reviewed the description and map for the property located at section 32 Township 19 Range 105 of the 6th Principal Meridian, also referenced as 363 Turret Drive, and determined that Kinder Morgan has no facilities within the described area. Staff recommends approval of this zone map amendment, and last week when we met with the Planning and Zoning Commission, they also voted 5-0, recommending the approval with the following condition. The zone map amendment will allow Jennifer and Wes Woodward to operate their nursery, Simply Sunshine, in the retail business zone. If they ever sell the nursery business or cease operations, the zoning will revert back to R2 mixed residential zone. That's all I have for this hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Megan, thank you very much. First of all, I apologize. I had a senior moment at the beginning and I just lost your name, so I apologize for that. So thank you, Megan, for presenting that first planning and zoning issue. Commissioners, any questions for Megan, before we move on? Okay, with that, I believe we have the owner present, Ms. Woodward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any comments, anything to add?
Well, I just want to let you know, I appreciate, first of all, the Planning and Zoning Commission. They've been so helpful for us in this process. We're farmers by trade before we moved to Rock Springs in 2019. And we got here thinking we could leave farming behind, and we obviously could not. So we started this nursery in our, I'll just keep this to a nutshell, but just to give you a little bit of background on us, we started this nursery in our backyard just a couple of blocks from where we currently live, kind of as an experiment, because we wanted a nursery. First of all, we wanted our kids to have hard work because that's what we're used to them having. And we had this little 0.2 acre lot and not a lot for them to do. But we also saw a real need for production and agriculture in this area because it's something that we're obviously very passionate about. And the response, it was more of an experiment. We got a city business license and we had to adhere to city restrictions, but the response was incredible. And we were so grateful for the support of the community. We met so many fantastic people who we, didn't know. We moved here and then COVID hit. And so it was kind of a good way to get to know our community as well. But because we had such a good response, we had been working with the planning and zoning and trying to find a place that would be suitable, because we looked at commercial property and it was well beyond what we could afford, especially as a startup for a seasonal business. And these guys have been great. Eric and Megan have been so nice to help us think through different areas of town. And anyway, that's what led us to where we are today. We've had florists approach us and ask us to grow cut flowers for them in town, because currently they have to bring flowers in from Utah and it costs them a lot of money. We've had people trying to order trees, and I have to keep telling them, I'm like, you can't do anything yet because we're not zoned right. But that's kind of where we're at. And again, I appreciate your willingness to even give us the opportunity. And if you have any questions, I would love to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Ms. Woodward. Any questions for the applicant, Mrs. Woodward? Commissioner
I
Tolman?
don't have a question, but you might want to contact the Conservation District. They've moved their office to the Young at Heart and they have a lot of informational
I've actually,
pamphlets you might be able to use.
thank you. I've actually talked, they actually have a grant that we'll be applying for in the spring as well. So thank you. They've been great to work with as well. Good resources in the
Thank you,
county.
Commissioner. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Tolman. Commissioner Shanefield?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say that this is exciting because we love new businesses in our community, especially because it's a new business and it is, meeting a community need. And I'd also suggest getting with Kayla McDonald with our Economic Development Coalition if you need assistance in, making things meet with the grant, or even just to review some of that stuff just to help. That's what we're there for. So
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, thank you, Ms. Woodward.
Thank you.
At this time, in order to move forward for this zoning change request or amendment, we do have to open up for public hearing. And at this time, I will open up the floor for public hearing of recommendation 21-10-ZEB, or that's ZO-01, for approval of a zoning map amendment from mixed residential, which is R2, to retail business, which is B, requested by Wes and Jennifer Woodward. At this time, I'll open the floor for public comment. If anybody from the public would like to comment on this amendment, please come forward to the podium, state your name and who you're with, please. Thank you. Any comments from the public? I apologize for our public hearings taking a little longer, but we do allow people to comment now through the internet, and we do monitor it in the back of the room. So we allow a little extra time for typing versus voice. Thank you. Nothing yet? Give it a minute.
Mr. Chairman, I thought we were going to have one public comment period at the end of all of these. Are we going to do each one individually?
We will only put together the Let me just read the Sweetwater County applications. Applicants on items 2 through 5. They will be put together.
Okay,
All the other ones are standalone. Commissioner Toman,
thank you.
you're welcome. No comments coming in? Comments? Last call. Closed for public comment. Commissioners, what's your pleasure regarding approving resolution 21-10-ZEB-O-01 for approval of a zoning map amendment from mixed residential to retail business requested by Wes and Jennifer Woodward?
Mr. Chairman, I would be happy to make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Toman. We have a motion by Commissioner Toman to approve the resolution as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you and congratulations. There you are behind the mask. I'm going, where are you? Anyhow, congratulations and we hope everything goes very well. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, next up now, what we'll do is we have Sweetwater County applications on behalf of Hilliard Properties LLC zoning map amendment MH to light industrial, which is I-1. We have also a Sweetwater County application on behalf of Old Dominion Freight Line Incorporated zoning map amendment MH, which is manufactured home, to light industrial, which is I-1. We also have a Sweetwater County application on behalf of DNS Burns Properties zoning map amendment C, commercial, to light industrial, which is I-1. And we have a Sweetwater County application on behalf of DNS Burns Properties zoning map amendment C, commercial, to in light industrial I-1. On those zoning map amendments, we will present what they are, and Mr. Bingham will do that. When he's finished, we will have a public hearing on all of those 2 through 5 at one time. And then after the public hearing is closed, we'll come back and take each one as a pleasure to the board. Okay? So to present 2 through 5, we have Mr. Bingham, our planning and zoning director. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you,
floor is
Mr.
yours.
Chairman. So this will be real quick. Megan's going to actually present 2 through 5, but just see a little history here so you understand what we're doing. We have an area that's, basically where the new bridge is being built in Rock Springs, that whole interchange area. We've been meaning to get to this area. There's some real confusion in the record as to what the zoning is on some of these properties. So just to give you an example, White Mountain Mining is on a mobile home zoning classification. So obviously, and then we have a trucking facility in a mobile home zoning district. So this is to fix those situations and so that the zoning is actually matching how they're utilizing the property. And the same with Mr. Burns, who is operating an impound yard, is currently zoned commercial and is more appropriate to be I-1 light industrial. So that is the purpose of all these zoning map amendments, is cleanup. And I want to thank our land use staff, Megan and Jim and Stephanie, for all helping us contact all these owners, and they're all on board. Just want to clarify that we're just not doing a zone change and not notifying the owners. All the owners are in agreement. And so I just wanted to make you aware of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. Okay, and with that, were there any questions for Mr. Bingham? None at all. With that, we'll turn the floor over to Ms. Toomer. Bingham, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to try and make this as quick and painless as possible for everybody involved. So I'll just give a brief overview of each property owner, show you where it's located on the map, and then we'll cover the review criteria altogether since, as it's been stated before, all these need to go through together in order to meet the minimum district size for I-1, which is 10 acres. And we'll jump right in. So as you can see on the map shown above, the proposed I-1 district that we are proposing to do with these 4 properties is consisting of 13.11 acres. So we will meet the minimum zone district size. It The three properties on the west side of the road are contiguous and the property on the east side is not, but it still meets our, what we call a zoning district, and trying to get everybody zoned to a little bit more appropriate zone district for how the property is currently being used. So all these properties will be I-1. And just a little bit of background, the Hilliard properties, which was previously owned by LT Enterprises, is where White Mountain Mining Restaurant has been located for years. It's been on a manufactured home zone district. I'm just trying to get that cleaned up. And to eliminate any confusion, restaurants are an allowed use, are a permitted use, excuse me, within the light industrial zone district. Old Dominion Freight Line, which is the property on the east side of this road, is also a use that has been grandfathered in the past due to the manufactured home property that it's been located on. And it will continue to be a grandfathered use due to the fact that it's a motor freight terminal, but it is a little more suited to the light industrial use instead of the manufactured home use. They've been on board as well, and we have written, Eric Bingham, the land use director, has written a letter assuring them that they can continue operating as they have in the past. As long as no operations cease for a period of 1 year, the grandfathered use will remain intact for that property. And the two properties that are highlighted in pink, the commercial areas that are on the west side, is where DNS Burns Property LLC is operating their towing and salvage yard over there, as well as it's home to a couple mobile homes, as well as the Sunset West apartments. Again, they will be an allowed use within this light industrial area. I'm just trying to get everybody cleaned up since we finally had everybody on the same page for once. So we will jump right into the criteria. Everything's, we made public notices for everything. Fortunately, everybody returned our comments by snail mail from all of our property owners. They were been very great to work with and reach out. And the review criteria has been the same for all of these. And I'll just leave it up on this and just kind of hit the high and low points of this. Basically, with these properties, they are consistent and compatible with the current zoning resolution and comprehensive plan. We're not making any changes to how the properties are being used, more just trying to clean up our records and match how the properties have been used for years. The proposed zoning is very suitable for existing topography and creates buildable lots. Nothing will have to be improved or changed on the property's owner end. They're very happy for this. And as I've stated before, restaurants are allowed within this zone district. And the adjacent property owners to the south and to the east of these property is actually the city of Rock Springs city limits. And if we were to go back to this map, everything where you can see the area where it's not colored, everything to the east side is actually B2, which is a commercial community business district within inside the city of Rock Springs, and everything to the south is zoned I-1, which is also a light industrial zone as well. As you can see, it will be a good blend of the area, both inside the city limits and within the county as well. We have not received any adjacent, any adverse comments from any adjacent property owners in regards to any of these 4 zone map amendment changes. And if we can approve all 4 of these properties, we will be able to meet the minimum district size, hence trying to hear all these together, explain everybody's working together, and we will approve all these in separate resolutions. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Toomer or our land use director, Mr. Bingham? So just so we know that we'll open up public hearing momentarily for all 4 of those amendments, 2 through 5. And anybody who wishes to comment on any one of them, you're welcome to please come to the podium and state your name and who you're with, and the commission will be glad to listen. So at this time, I will open up public hearing for recommendation of approval of the zoning changes of Sweetwater County applicants on applications on behalf of Hilliard Properties, Old Dominion, and DNS Burn Properties. Floor is now open for public hearing. Public comment. Floor is open for public comment. Public comment. Last call. Floor is now closed for public comment regarding those resolutions. So the first resolution, I believe, Commissioners, what's your pleasure on resolution 21-10-ZO-02 for approval of a zoning map amendment from manufactured home MH to light industrial I-1 requested by Sweetwater County Land Use Department?
Mr.
Matt.
Chairman,
Go ahead, Commissioner Shanefield.
I'd make a motion to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve resolution 21-10-ZO-02 as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Commissioners, your pleasure on approving resolution resolution 21-10-ZO-03 for approval of a zoning map amendment from manufactured home to light industrial I-1 requested by Sweetwater Land Use Department.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd,
I would move as presented.
we have a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
Commissioner Toman seconds it. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is Commissioners, your pleasure regarding resolution 21-10-ZO-04 for approval of a zoning map amendment from commercial C to light industrial, which is as requested by Sweetwater County Land Use Department.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith.
I move that we approve as presented.
Have a motion by Commissioner Smith to approve resolution 21-10-ZO-04. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, Commissioners, your pleasure regarding resolution 21-10-ZO-05 for approval of a zoning map amendment from commercial C to light industrial I-1 requested by Sweetwater Land Use Department.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith,
I move that we approve as presented.
we have a motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, Commissioners, we have approved those resolutions that impact Hilliard Properties, Old Dominion Freight Lines, and DNS Burn Properties. Anything we need to do on that, Mr. Bingham?
Huge thank you.
All right, thank you. Good work on your department's half, Jim and everyone that worked hard on getting that straightened out. I know it was a big chore, but thank you very much. Okay, moving forward, I believe up next is a request for variance from Robert Volsick, Section 4CB, Sweetwater County zoning resolution, and Section 62.5 of Sweetwater County Growth Management Plan. And who will present that, Mr.? Okay, Ms. Toomer, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This public hearing is for a preliminary plat called Volsick Subdivision, which was approved at Planning and Zoning Commission last week. Preliminary plats stop there. You guys don't get the pleasure of seeing the subdivision process until it reaches final plat. So in accordance with that, one thing that has been requested is a variance for access road widths within proposed lot 1. And just a little bit of background, this is a 3-lot subdivision where Volsick Trailer Court currently resides right now. That is going to be considered proposed lot 1 and will be around 30.75 acres. Proposed lot 2 will be the 34.08 acres to the east of the existing mobile home trailer court. And then proposed lot 3, which is where Mr. Volsick's house currently resides, will be a 0.77 acre property. And the request for this variance deals with the access road widths inside the proposed lot 1, which is the existing mobile home trailer court. This map shows the extent of the subdivision boundary. And here's the copy of the plat. A little hard to read if you guys want to come down and see what it's all about. We've got a nice big hard copy printed off downstairs if you have any questions. The request for variance comes from the following Sweetwater County zoning regulations within Section 4C5B6. Basically, it's a request to have 30-foot access road easements within the proposed lot 1 instead of the 60 feet that is required for all lots and parcels within the growth management area that this subdivision resides within. And then it's also a request for variance from Sweetwater County Growth Management Plan, Section 6265, roadway requirements for parcel division and subdivision, which also reflects back to that first section that I referenced. We have 3 criteria that we look at when looking at these variance requests that come in. Basically, the first is there anything that the applicant can do to make this happen in accordance with our rules, or is there something that it's just a minor tweak and not asking us to change heaven and earth on our zoning regulations? As I've stated before, the proposed lot 1 is the existing Volsick trailer court. As you guys all know, the roads within there are a little bit narrower, but are still very accessible to all emergency vehicles. There's not much room for increasing the road widths on there, hence the request for variance to be moved down to the 30 feet instead of the 60 feet that is required within our code. Another thing that we take a look at is, are there any strict applications of the provisions of the Sweetwater County zoning regulations that would deprive the applicant of a reasonable use of the land? Again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse on this. Everything's existing. JFC has gone out and come up with the biggest access width that they could, which is a pretty standard 30 feet all the way throughout all the roads within this mobile home court. And the third and final is the granting of the variance is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning resolution and will not be injurious to the neighborhoods or otherwise detrimental to public welfare. Emergency vehicles have been able to access this property in the past. It's not changing anything for them, that we have no concerns that way. And we did not receive any public or agency comments in regards for this variance. And the land use staff has recommended approval of these 2 variances. And the Planning and Zoning Commission also voted 5-0 last week on approval with the following conditions. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for this hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Toomer. Is the applicant present? Do you have anything to add? Come up and state your name, please.
My name is Robert Volsick, speaking on the roads. We've had those roads since 74. We've never had a problem. At the edge of each side of the pavement, there's a 4-foot sidewalk and curb and gutter. So that's quite a bit of open room. It's all blacktopped. The reason for this, I'm selling the park. I have a good piece of land. So the owner of the new owner does not want all of the land down below. So we're dividing it, and I'm keeping the stuff on the right and he's taking the park. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Volsick. Appreciate you being here. Any questions for Mr. Volsick or Ms. Toomer? Okay, thank you very much. No questions. At this time, we'll open the floor for a public hearing on a recommendation of Resolution 21-10-ZO-06 for approval of a variance for subdivision access roads to be 30 feet in width as requested by the applicant, Mr. Volsick. Floor is now open for public comment. No public comment? None, sir. We'll speed this up a little bit and go last call, public comment. Floor is now closed for public comment. Commissioners, your pleasure regarding Resolution 21-10-ZO-06 for approval of a variance for subdivision road access 30 feet instead of 60 feet in width as requested by Robert Volsick.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Tillman,
I would make that motion.
we have a motion by Commissioner Tillman, I believe, to approve the resolution.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Very good. Congratulations. Next up is our next planning and zoning. Megan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This last and final hearing is also for the applicant of Robert Volsick. This application is for a zone map amendment for the east property, which is the vacant property that he spoke about earlier. It is to help clean up the spot zoning that is located there. As you can see in the map, it's currently zoned a little bit of R2 CRS, which is commercial and recreational services, and another huge portion of manufactured homes. Mr. Volsick is proposing to change this area just to the CRS, commercial and recreational services, just to make things a little bit easier and also to make the property a little bit more attractive. And we'll jump right into the review criteria. Everything conforms with current resolutions and comprehensive plans. This zone map amendment will also help to create a new lot that will be located near the new interstate interchange that's going in right now. It's a new vacant lot. Something else through this research process that I was able to learn that this proposed zoning is a suitable and existing topography and also creates buildable lots. Mr. Volsick or anybody in the future who looks at purchasing this property, because it was a brownfield site, there used to be a sewer lagoon in this location. Developers could potentially qualify for grants on this brownfield site to look at improving and putting something on the property in the future, which is also an attractive thing and easier to do when it's zoned one zone district instead of the 3 that it's currently zoned. The land surrounded by mixed residential on the west side, which is also the trailer court and Mr. Volsick's home, and the Eddy property, which is up on the top of the hill. CRS is a good mix between that. And then on the east side of where the subdivision's going in is light industrial, where the layout subdivision is at. So CRS is a good blend between the area. And as this is an existing site and it's also going through the current subdivision process, all public facilities will be adequate. And if there is anything that needs to be put in place, that will be handled throughout the subdivision process. We have not received any negative comments in regards to this zone map amendment. And this request conforms to all applicable provisions of this, the Sweetwater County zoning resolutions. We have not received any public or agency comments, and the land use staff recommends approval. And last week, the Planning and Zoning Commission also voted 5-0 in recommending approval on this as well. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Toomer. Again, Mr. Volsick, you are present. Anything to add? Come on to the forward, please.
Line that it's showing there is where I'm going to have my eastern boundary for the now mobile home park. This will be what the new guy buys, will go to this point, and that'll be at the land on the right I'm retaining. And there will not be any new construction, period. We won't turn a shovel full of dirt anywhere down there or anywhere else. This is all just pretty much on paper. You know, they take the left, I take the right. So that's it. Thank you.
Very good. Questions for Mr. Volsick, commissioners? No questions? How about questions for Ms. Toomer from our planning department? With no questions, commissioners, what's your pleasure regarding no, I'm sorry. We got to go to public hearing first. We need to have a public hearing at this time. I'll open the floor for a public hearing on the recommendation of Resolution 21-10-ZO-07 for approval of a zoning map amendment from manufactured home MH and mixed residential R2 to commercial recreational services CRS as requested by Mr. Volsick. And there's also two conditions with this resolution. First one is primarily the primary plot for Volsick subdivision is also approved by the P&Z Commission. And the second condition is the two requests for variances on access roadways within the Volsick subdivision are also approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So we'll open the floor for public hearing. Anybody wishing to comment can come forth to the podium. Floor is open for public hearing. Public comment? Questions? Last call. Public hearing. Hearing is now closed. Commissioners, what's your pleasure in approving resolution 21-10-ZO-07 for approval of a zoning map amendment for manufactured home and mixed residential to commercial recreational services as requested by Robert Volsick and also with the two conditions as listed?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Smith,
I move that we approve the recommendation as presented.
we have a motion by Commissioner Smith to approve the resolution as presented. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
Commissioner Tolman, she seconds it. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Planning and zoning is complete, I believe. Thank you, Megan, and thank you, Mr. Bingham.
Gonna be out of a job, Eric.
Yeah, well done. Thank you.
Megan does good work.
She is.
All right, moving forward, our next agenda item is our public county resident concerns. And at this time, I'll open the floor up to public resident concerns. If anybody wishes to speak to the commission, please approach the podium, state who you're with, or state your name and who you represent, and the floor will be given. Public comment, anybody, come on forward. Name and who you're with.
My name is Dale Hott. I live at 218 Camille Circle, Rock Springs, Wyoming. The reason I'm here today is an incident that happened Sunday, and it's been going on all summer long. I shoot at the trap club, and we have gone there and it's not been open. And Sunday more people showed up that day because it was so good. And there's no notice, no explanation. We just stand outside. I got a picture on my cell phone if you'd like to see it, if you don't trust me. But there were people that came from Pinedale down, Farson, Green River. They drove that way for nothing. That's very rude to be treated that way. Many years ago when I was working, I had a boss's boss talk to me, and he said, I hold my managers responsible because they have all the marbles. I don't think you guys were aware of this until now, but in the previous years, last year, even in COVID, the employee that was in charge, Barry, who's not there now, he had our cell phone numbers and he would text us, we're going to be open. Because in the beginning of the year, it's cold, it's windy, you're not sure when you're going to open it. We're going to open the range Sunday. 5 stand may not be open, but he tells you that. In this day and age, there's no excuse for lack of communication. We all have cell phones, we all have computers, and yet we show up and nothing treated like that. And that's just indifference. Now, I don't know who's responsible, but I know you guys have all the marbles. It could be the employees themselves. It could be their supervisors who don't make them do their job. It could be an at-will employee who immediately go, I don't know. I don't have the ability that you do to find out what happened, but it's just not a way to treat people. It's just that simple. Either you have the range, which is, by the way, it's been there a very long time. It is one heck of a facility that has been built there. To build that facility just for shotguns only would cost a huge amount of money to get that kind of land now. It's been there forever. You know, either use it or do something with it, but you can't just keep having people. You know, and this year it was only open on Sundays at that. I know people who work Sundays and can't be there Sunday, but could be there Wednesdays. Well, if you close half your business or your hours to any business, you're going to have half the income coming in. And it's just like, I don't know who's in charge, but I really kind of question if they really care. I think they're indifferent. And indifferent is just inexcusable to treat people. It don't matter who they are or where they're at on the social status. We are people, and we did show up. And to be ignored like that with no explanation is just inexcusable. And the reason I'm here is, and my friend Larry is retired. We can be here. If we had jobs, we wouldn't be able to tell you this. You have the marbles. You now are aware of it. I hope you do something about it. I don't know what the solution is. If you want, you know where I live. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Larry. Any other public comment? Come forward. Name?
Hello, my name's Larry Aker. Live in Rock Springs, Wyoming. Born and raised here, been here all my life. As Dale states, you know, the trap club up there, probably the best trap club in the state of Wyoming, bar none. You know, I'm sure you're all aware that high school finals rodeo, the 2 years that they were here, they participated up there. You will see no bad comments about Sweetwater County whatsoever. That facility was used and I was fortunate to be a scorer for those 2 years up there. And fantastic facility, but it is definitely going down, down, down. I understand there's limited people, limited financing. And that's why me and Dale are here, just to present, let you know, what's going on and not putting no blame on anybody. But like Dale says, if you have a public facility and it's said to be open and it's not, with no explanation, no nothing, something's wrong somewhere. I took in also the chamber put on a shoot here, or tried to put on a shoot here a month or so ago. And they hung a sign on the door up there at the Trap Club. That's like hanging a sign nowhere. I mean, you got limited amount of people that even go up there. If you're a shooter, why would you not go? You're not going to go up there. Well, just to make this short, I will tell you that I seen that sign, and that sign was up there for a couple of weeks, and I pretty much ignored it. Well, they had their shoot. I think they had 5 people show up. So they made one team. And that Monday morning, after me thinking about this on Sunday, I went down to the chamber and I talked to Mr. Rick Lee. And I asked him, I says, your shoot did not go very well. And he said, no, it did not. And I said, well, number one, you can't just hang a sign on the door. And I says, number two, if you get on the county website, that trap club is closed. Nobody posted on the county website to be announced what was on there. I said, now, if you're attracting people to come up here and shoot and it's closed, well, that changed that week. I don't know if I did it or not. Don't make any difference. But like I say, that facility is one fantastic facility. And there would be a lot more people participating in using that facility. And I know this ain't no big money maker for the county by any means. As a matter of fact, in the probably 3 years that the county's had it, they're not making money. For sure, you got to supply targets, you got to supply people. In years prior to this year, there was one gentleman up there, Barry, who pretty much, he was the man. He was not the supervisor or like that, but he was the man running the club. And he didn't take no bull, and it ran good. And it was kind of coming back. There was more people coming around. Well, then the COVID this year, it opened late. Barry's no longer there. They had some fine people up there. I can't say anything bad about the people that are up there. Nothing. I mean, they do their thing, and it's pretty much for the shooter easier than it ever could be. All you do is go up there, pay your money, and shoot. Go home. You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to clean nothing up. You ain't got to do nothing. Well, maybe that's too easy. But me and Dale just, after Sunday, like he says, you got people from out of town, a guy coming from Pinedale driving down here, it's closed. He ain't coming back. You have people from Green River, they go over there. It's easy for me. I live in Rock Springs. 5 minutes, I drive up there, okay, go home. But when people out of town and stuff, that's a little bit different. And, the county website is there. Now, I don't know who takes care of that. They didn't even announce that club was open. That's very poor. Supposedly, we're gonna have this high school finals rodeo coming back up here in the future years, hopefully, which that brings in revenue. And Sweetwater County, they did an outstanding job presenting that, doing that up there. So that's all I have to say, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Any other county concern, please come to the podium. State your name, who you're with.
Hi, my name is Joni Forcier and I'm with my husband, Troy Forcier. And this has to do with public records. My husband and I were told by his doctors that we needed to move closer to the University of Utah, and we picked Wyoming. It was closer for us to travel there than Nevada. We sold our house in Nevada, purchased a house here, we had thought. We packed up our belongings and drove down here. While we were on our way from Nevada to here, we found out the house that we were purchasing, the people didn't own. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous, but we were told that he had the deed to the home and that he needed to find it. Well, just right before we signed, which was the 27th, the title company's underwriter found that they had no right to the deed for the home. And they were not allowed to sell nor rent this property. We tried to find the original owner, and we found out the day that we were supposed to sign, the original owner passed away on that day, which has left us homeless. And my husband is very sick. And if the public records would have been open for anyone to go in and check, because we've been through a private sale before, our home in Wyoming. We went through a private deed and everything went well. So we thought we knew what we were doing, but obviously we didn't. And, it's hard to go in and investigate when you have to pay a fee to get into public records. And it's left us in quite a bind, and I don't know where we move on from here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment, public comment? Yes. Any other public comment? No further public comments, website? This time I'll close the floor for public comments and thank the people that have come before us, and we will look into some of these situations and see what we can do. The ones that we can control, we'll look at, but there are maybe some that we don't control. And that, so, thank you very much. With that, the next scheduled action presentation item is at 9:40, which is right now, but we are scheduled for a break right now. So we will take a 10-minute break and we will come back at 9:40. Let's take 15 minutes, 9:45. We'll go back 5. We'll come back at 9:55, commissioners. All right. Please call this meeting to order. Thank you. With that, we will continue on with our action present items, and we'll start with tab E, which is a request to approval of the 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant Agreement documents. And here to present that is our grants manager, Ms. Marshall, and the sheriff, Sheriff Grossnickel, as well as from our emergency management, Ms. Judy Roderick. So floor is yours, Ms. Marshall.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. So Sweetwater County was awarded $60,000 in federal emergency management performance grant funding from the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security. You probably recognize this as it's an annual grant that Judy applies for every year to help offset our Homeland Security expenses. So it actually requires a cash match of 50%. And that has already been budgeted in the fiscal year 2022 grant projects budget. So the purpose of this particular grant funding is to assist the local governments in preparing for all hazards. The funding will be used to supplement eligible payroll expenses in the emergency management / Homeland Security Department budget. In the contract, I just wanted to point out 2 items on page 4. As a subrecipient, the subrecipient, Sweetwater County, agrees to complete a whole community threat and hazard identification risk assessment. And I just want to point out, Judy actually oversees this, and it is required for compliance. And another item that she handles on page 7, another requirement under this funding is on page 7, again, item K, Emergency Operations Plan, EOP. Subrecipient agrees to complete an emergency operations plan aligning with the requirements and guidelines of the Comprehensive Preparedness Guide. So in terms of the budget, you'll see that, so the grant award is $60,000. The county has to match it for $60,000. And then the remaining balance is $46,246. That is budgeted in the emergency management budget. And then the rest is budgeted in the grants projects budget as per the contract requirements. And again, that's for salary and benefits for 2 full-time employees doing allowable EMPG activities. And then with that, I would like to ask the sheriff or Judy if they'd like to add anything.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Sheriff Grossnickel, anything to add?
Only if you have questions.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. Ms. Roderick? All right, thank you very much. So with that, Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Marshall or the Sheriff or Ms. Roderick? Mr. Tolman?
Yes, Ms. Roderick, you've done this similar program before though, right?
Yes, we've been doing it in one form or another for 17 years.
Oh, so you understand the requirements and, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, Commissioners? With no further questions, what's your pleasure in approving and authorizing chairman to sign the 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant Agreement?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield,
I'll make a motion to approve as presented and authorize chairman to sign.
we have a motion to approve the Emergency Management Performance Grant Agreement documents and authorize chairman to sign by Commissioner Shanefield. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Tolman,
I would like to second that.
you second by Commissioner Tolman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Marshall, you're up also.
Okay, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is the last grants item for me. Sweetwater County was awarded $62,199 in federal Homeland Security grant funding from the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security. This grant project requires no cash match. The purpose of this funding is to improve the sheriff's office bomb squad's capability to prevent a threatened or actual act of terrorism. The project consists of purchasing a transport trailer containment vessel that would be used to safely remove suspected improvised explosive devices and suspicious packages from a scene to a remote location for investigation and disruption. So the total estimated cost is $62,199 for that item. Couple notes. The Sweetwater Bomb Squad is one of the busiest bomb squads in Wyoming and serves a major portion in southwestern Wyoming. Typically, it handles over 30 incidents and activities a year. And I want to also do a shout out to Lieutenant Joe Tomich, who actually worked on this grant project, and unfortunately, he could not be here today. He did all the legwork and just asked me to review. It is absolutely fascinating what the bomb squad does. And I think the average citizen doesn't understand how important this type of purchase is, whether protecting people or gathering evidence. You don't want it exploding all over the place. So, but then a final note, as a recipient of this funding, the county actually has to complete a national cybersecurity review. That is actually a fairly new requirement in the last few years. And I'm very pleased to say that our IT director, Tim Knight, actually does that every year. It's free, no cost to us. And I'm sure he will be happy to do that for compliance. So, and with that, I'd like to ask the sheriff if he'd like to add anything since Joe's not here.
Thank you, Mr. Marcelo.
Mhm.
Sheriff Grossnickel. Podium's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. What this grant is going to provide is a replacement trailer that we were using that Green River, the city of Green River had provided us, and that had to be retired because of age. So it's a vital piece of equipment that our bomb squad does use.
Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate that. Okay, first, before I open the floor up, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Tomich for working on this grant, and my interactions with him go way back, even as a student and at Rock Springs High School, and what he demonstrates as a officer in the department, self-initiative and working hard, and I guess writing for the brand. There has been, he's one of the best. So I'd like to thank Lieutenant Tomich and specifically say thanks for writing for the brand and continue your work that you're doing for the Sheriff's Department in Sweetwater County. Commissioners, any questions for the sheriff or Ms. Marshall regarding this grant? Go ahead, Commissioner Toman.
Sheriff, does this cover the full cost of that trailer you have to replace? Or are you going to have to use budget money?
No, this will replace the entire thing.
Okay.
Other questions, commissioners? Sheriff, when we say that with this apparatus, we serve the state of Wyoming, have you traveled throughout the state with your bomb squad?
Mr. Chairman, yes. We usually stay on this west part of the state, but they do travel throughout the state.
Very good. Thank you. So it serves more than just Sweetwater County.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you very much. Other questions, commissioners? With that, commissioners, your pleasure on approving and authorizing chairman to sign the 2021 Wyoming Homeland Security Grant Agreement documents.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Toman.
I would like to move to approve the grant agreement and authorize you to sign.
We have a motion by Commissioner Toman to approve the grant agreement and authorize chairman to sign. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Good job. Great work, and appreciate everything that's occurred. Sheriff, thank you for all your work. And Judy Roderick, thank you for all yours. And of course, Christina, thank you very much. With that, we'll move on. Thank you. Be safe. All right, moving to tab G, which is a request, a letter of support for Sweetwater Events Complex Foundation application for T-Mobile hometown grant application. And here to present that letter is Ms. Seppi, as well as Mr. Lloyd. the CEO of the Events Complex. Ms. Seppi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr.
Introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Kira Seppi, and I'm an office assistant at the Sweetwater Events Complex. We're here today asking for a letter of support that's been drafted in the commissioner packets for a T-Mobile hometown grant application for upgrading our lights in the indoor arena and adding an industrial fan to the indoor arena to improve comfort and safety for events that happen. In addition, the entire events complex is a designated emergency shelter facility. In the event of an emergency, the indoor arena would be part of those agreements. One of the uses that's been talked about for the indoor arena is a vaccine drive-through clinic with public health. That's been a possibility that's been discussed. And so increased lighting and the fans would increase circulation in the event of a vaccination clinic. So that's another emergency use in addition to heavily enhancing the safety and comfort of event participants and spectators. So we're just asking today for your support in the drafted letter of support in your packets.
Thank you, Ms. Seppi. Mr. Lloyd, anything to add?
She's done an excellent job of putting this document together. I think it's critical for us to move out to the next level. Ask for the board's support for this.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Seppi or Mr. Lloyd? I do have a couple. Any match money to this grant?
There's not
I didn't
any.
think I saw any, but I had to ask.
Nope, there is no match.
Okay, and with that, commissioners, the letter was in the packet. And of course, it has asked for the chairman to sign the letter, but he does represent the commission as a whole. Commissioners, did any of you have any trouble with the letter?
No, it was very nice that Mr. Lloyd came so we could at least see him a couple of times before he officially retires.
We're gonna have a picture of you somewhere.
On a dartboard.
I'm not even,
Teasing there.
I'm thinking even better than that. Anyhow, with that, we will continue on with business.
It's nice that you're getting such high-powered people to fill in for you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions? Going back to my original question, do you believe the letter is okay?
I do. What would be the dollar amount of the grant?
The max amount is $50,000 and our total amount of our project comes out to $49,744.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Oh, there it is. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, what's your pleasure on approving this letter of support and authorizing chairman to sign?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield,
I would like to make a motion to approve this letter of support and authorize the chairman to sign.
we have a motion by Commissioner Shanefield to approve and authorize chairman to sign. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion?
I'm all for free money.
Yes, so true. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
You're welcome. Good job. Nice job presenting. You bet. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to tab H, which is a change order number 2 for the fiscal year 21 paint stripping contract. And here to present that is Mr. Legursky, our Public Works Director. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. I need to tell Sally to change the order of all these because I always ask for money and you guys get all the free money. So maybe if I go first and then we get all this free stuff done out of the way, it'd be a whole lot easier.
Is this out of your budget or is it out of?
Oh, this is out of fuel tax.
Fuel tax. So see, that's not.
Kind of free money.
Kind of free money. Well, contribute.
And it goes straight to roads. So that's a
Yeah,
good
so
thing.
there you go. Yeah, it's not costing a whole lot.
No. So what this is change order number 2. As most of you guys know, the McKinnon Road. What I do every other year is I stripe the edge striping on McKinnon Road and I alternate that with Mineral X. Well, back in April, May, when I went down and looked at McKinnon Road, it didn't look that bad. We needed to stripe the edge striping this year, and I panicked a little bit and decided to have that stripe this year out of the budget. So it was already in the budget. S&L Industrial came in underneath what we thought the budget would cost. So that was in there. It is in the fuel tax. I'm just asking you guys to approve it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Legursky. Any questions, commissioners, for Mr. Legursky?
Well, yes, Mr. Legursky, do you have to stripe it so people can see that road and find it to stay on it?
It is a narrow road. It has 11-foot lanes and no safety shoulders. So yes, it is a very narrow
I
road.
think it's a very good idea.
Funny.
Literally staying in the lane.
Literally stay in your lane and watch out for the black baldy cows that are out there because they sneak up on you.
So the new contract sum, including the change order, will be 377,000.
Yes, 145.06.
We're approving how much?
Change order for 28,308.46.
Okay, 28. Oh, there it is, the contract. Okay, so any questions, any other questions for Mr. Legursky? All right, then.
$1,000 a mile.
Out, yeah.
Yep.
Which hopefully paint prices come down along with steel price and everything next year, because right now paint's even more expensive.
It is.
All the resin's made in Houston, just so you guys know, and with all the weather that Houston's got for yellow and white paint, it's made out of 2 factories down in Houston. So that's where the paint shortage is coming from for traffic paint.
All right. Any other questions?
Well, I just have a comment because
Commissioner
we did
Tillman?
get some citizen comments on that road. Is it holding up enough that it's not become a priority for the county to fix it?
It is, but we don't have the money to fix it. We're gonna have to come up with an idea. I actually have some people coming in here in November to take a look at that road to come up with some solutions for that. The hard part about it is if we go and fix it correctly, it's gonna cost about $58 million. It's 28 miles, 11-foot lanes. We need to take those out to 24-foot lanes plus 4-foot safety shoulders and then do an 8-to-1 side slope on them. There's a lot of dirt. So we need to get it by or start seriously talking about what we can do in place to keep the asphalt there to chip seal it and to do that kind of stuff. So actually the road's in fairly good shape, but the asphalt's starting to break apart. Part of it is there's 75 cars a day on it, average. You actually need higher traffic to need the asphalt back together, if that makes sense. But it's an old road. I mean, we got it in 1938.
Your 75 car average means basically there's a lot more in the summer and fewer in the.
Actually, it's fewer in the summer
Really?
than in the fall because of bus traffic and everything like that and everybody going to
Okay.
school.
All right.
So it's actually higher in September than it was in July.
Okay. Well, I thought it'd be the opposite, but you're
No,
right.
yeah, we did too.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, commissioners, any other questions? Commissioners, what's your pleasure regarding change order number 2? And that would be to S&L Industrial. And it would increase the cost of stripping by $28,308.46 and authorizing chairman to sign.
Mr. Chairman, I would make the motion
Commissioner
to,
Tillman.
I'd make the motion to authorize the change order and allow the chairman to sign.
Have a motion to approve the change order number 2 and authorize chairman to sign by Commissioner Tillman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, with that, the next item on the agenda is other. Anything for the good of the order, commissioners? Anything for the next agenda? Commissioners. All right, with nothing up, the next thing will be commissioner comments. First up, Commissioner Shanefield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you to our Sheriff Grissnickel and Deputy Jason Maurer for their hard work and their support of the McCullen family. Deputy Maurer organized an awesome event last Saturday in partnership with the Wyoming Peace Officers Association and the Cowboy Joe Club at the University of Wyoming football game. And this was something that, I mean, thank you for, like Chairman Windling said, riding for the brand and doing the right thing and supporting this family. SCDC, Kayla recently attended the Wyoming Working Together conference 2 weeks ago in Riverton, and she had the opportunity to visit with some other economic development organizations during her time there. She also met with Sharon Fain, the VP for Rocky Mountain Power, Wyoming, and the announcement for that Natrium nuclear reactor project, oh my goodness, I can't talk, will be coming out as early as the end of this month or the beginning of November. So fingers crossed, hopefully soon. Eric and Kayla will be beginning to prepare for the town hall meetings that they are going to be starting after the first of the year. They're going to be coming before the commission next month to help plan for those town hall meetings. There's cryptocurrency leads that continue to come in and request for information that they have been matching and sending information out for our community. SCDC wrote a letter of support for the Build Back Better Regional Challenge Sweetwater County project for Clean Energy Transformation Hub. And SCDC would like to express their appreciation for Christina, who took her work on the project that was submitted to the Wyoming Energy Association. And SCDC and Sweetwater County will also be featured in an upcoming publication for Business in Focus magazine. We were featured in 2019 as well. And Eric and Kayla did an interview with the company and provided an overview of the projects that SCDC is working on, and also talked about the great work that's being done at the community college to address future workforce development efforts that tie directly into economic development. The museum staff has been keeping busy with school tours and programming around that Crossroads exhibit. It has been very well attended, averaging about 30 visitors a day, and those are both tourists and local citizens from across the county. In addition to those visitors, they've had 4 classes from public grade schools that have toured the exhibits, and the museum is expecting some high school classes from Rock Springs later this week. The last day to visit Crossroads is October 23rd, so you have a few days left. And for those who are unable to visit, there is a video tour on the museum's YouTube channel. Aiden, Brady, and Dave began their video interview projects with the local history experts in our community throughout the county. And in lieu of public speaking events that they kind of called off due to COVID, they chose to do them via video, and they will also be available on YouTube. They are working with Frank Prevedel in the city of Superior to produce a video on the history of Superior. And this final video will also be linked to Superior's website and include portions filmed in the Superior Museum. And they also interviewed Ed Varley on the history of Bitter Creek and his experiences growing up there. So those will be exciting once they roll out. The museum staff also conducted gallery tours for 42 homeschooled students this last month, and they're continuing to do that in the future. And they just wanted me to remind everyone that the museum is open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, and it is free to visit. So come on down and see everybody. And know that there's also their gift shop has done really well in the last year, and they've got some pretty cool things that may be good for the upcoming holidays. I also just wanted to briefly touch on the general purpose tax initiative. So information has been mailed out to every registered voter household. They should be arriving today in their mailboxes. And then it's also posted today on Sweetwater Now and YO4 News information, statistics, and just general overview of what that tax will support. And then we are also putting together additional statistics from each eligible entity so that the public has a good understanding about what this tax revenue would come for. And I just wanted to point out, this is something that stood out to me, is that we've heard multiple public comments today on the Trap Club needing updating and not having the funding for staffing, as well as the McKinnon Road needing repairs. However, there's not enough money to do so. And so this is all due to these revenue shortfalls. And I really urge our community to look at what these community needs are and get the facts. we're trying to push all that information out about the general purpose tax initiative and, really look into things before you go vote on November 2nd.
Thank you, Commissioner Shanefield. Any questions, commissioners, for Commissioner Shanefield?
I have something I can add. I can do it during my report. I can tell you now at the Western Interstate Regional Meeting, the updates on the broadband, they came out with the report that I think you've already seen it, Broadband Task Force that Lauren was a member of. And I was able to comment and ask for NACO to please help us with the easement issue with the federal land partners requiring full cultural on a highway right away. And Jeremiah Riemann did tell me from the Wyoming Association that they are working with the WYDOT Commissioner Luke Reiner to work with the BLM to try to get an MOU, which will ease up some of the delays caused by these cultural clearances for broadband implementation.
Thank you, Commissioner Toman. Any other questions or comments for Commissioner Shanefield for a report? Thank you, Commissioner Shanefield. Up next, of course, Commissioner Toman. Go ahead.
I promised last time that I would continue to provide some information received from our Wyoming Association of County Elected Officials that I attended with Commissioner Wendling on September 21st and 23rd. Just a couple of highlights. We had an hour-long presentation on orphan water rights. And this is going to be an important issue during the legislature. Proposed changes to Wyoming statute 41.3.114 to ease requirements and costs to move a water right to provide better utilization of Wyoming water and water rights. So I just wanted to point that out. It's going to be important that we protect our water rights. The State Association of County Commissioners will be sponsoring regional congressional staffer tours. So they're calling for ideas from industry of types of tours that you might be able to host. They'll do this regionally throughout the next coming years. And they got a commitment from the membership to help fund those tours. Gene Legursky did present on the panel, County Road Standards Committee, so I failed to mention that last time. Thank you, Mr. Legursky. Another highlight of the convention was at their annual banquet. They awarded Senator Tara Nethercourt of Laramie County their special award for the year, and because they felt that she exemplified unity through adversity for chairing a committee with decency and respect in government at a time when national politics are oftentimes so disruptive. And that was inspiring to hear from her, and that was good. October 6th, I attended a federal agency meeting update. I'll provide an update. I attended that with Commissioner Wendling. We met Lori Armstrong, the acting High Desert District Director. She'll be here for 120 days. She has 4 priorities to complete the wild horse gathers, get the Rock Springs Resource Management Plan finalized. I mean, it's been rewritten 3 times. It's been up for briefing 8 times, and hopefully it will finally get approved after the first of the year. Oh, her other priority was working with Pacific Atlantic Trona Plant, getting that EIS completed. And her 4th priority, or 5th, whatever, is to work with renewable wind and solar projects. So that's what the BLM is doing. The oil and gas lease sales, they were canceled in 2 times by the Biden administration, will now go forth. There are no new leases in the Greater Little Mountain area. People were asking me about that. They will be accepting new leases for June 22 sale, and this upcoming sale will be in March of 2022 also. My page ran away. Oh, Fleming Gorge National Recreation Area update. Plan to begin 2 new water wells at Buckboard, $4 million plus. They added 1 more boat patrol. They're working with the Sweetwater Outdoor Recreation Committee on connecting trails from Uinta County and others. And there has been an 8-foot drop in water in Fleming Gorge due to demands on the water in the lower basin. I attended the Western Interstate Region Conference last week, October 12th to 15th in Salt Lake. And I did hand a handout to our commissioners, but the Western Interstate Region has worked within the National Association to promote the interests of Western counties, sustain the Western quality of life, and advocate on critical public lands, community stability, and economic development issues facing counties in their 15 member states. So their number one priority in the presentations at this conference were on encouraging access to Western lands and responsible development of Western resources. The second one was to ensure certainty in federal county payments. The big issue is the additional PILT payment coming out of this administration. And we had some commissioners there who were experts in the PILT program and trying to make it fair to rural counties. The third one is to support legislation and policies that reduce the threat of catastrophic wildfire and restore sustainable forest health, function, and productivity. Commissioner Bowsman from Sublette County interviewed the new chief of the Forest Service, Randy Moore, and they talked about keeping our forests healthy and protecting our watersheds and our water supplies. We had an intergovernmental agency meeting last night, and I will let Commissioner Wendling have something to talk about.
You think?
Okay, that's the end of my
All right.
comments.
Question, the new fire marshal
No, this is the chief of the Forest Service,
or chief of the Forest Service?
Randy
Thank you.
Moore.
Okay, is that regional or
It's for the United States.
United States?
He's from
Thank you.
California, and our consultant, Richard Stam, has worked with him and said he's a very proactive, positive type of person that's going to be very helpful in trying to restore the health of our national forest.
Good. Well, they'll have to, hopefully they can find some money to fund what needs to be done. That's what we can hope for. Thank you. All right, thank you for the report. Any questions for Commissioner Tolman? Any comments? Very good. Commissioner Lloyd, you're up next.
Thank you, Chairman Wendling. A couple things. I wasn't able to attend the library meeting last night due to the intergovernmental meeting, but I did meet with, have some conversations yesterday and some messages with Director Grubb. They're moving forward with a national search to replace Jason as a librarian. I think it's there is a date in November. I think it's the 12th or 11th on Jason's last day that around Jason's last day that Lindsay Travis will be named the interim library director and until they find a replacement and continue their search. And then with that, I know that Commissioner Smith has spoke a few times of liking things with pictures, and it is National Picture Book Month. And so they did talk about National Picture Book Month and how you can check those out, and they have a coloring contest to go around with that. So wanted to point out that it is National Picture Book Month. But go support the library. They do a lot of great things, have a lot of good things going on, a lot of community activities that are great. Other things I have attended. I just want to mention something that Commissioner Shaenfeld had mentioned. We are getting close to the end. I think 6-7 days till the end of the Crossroads Exhibit 5, the 24th. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is a great exhibit, and it's really amazing that we have it here in our community, knowing they came from the Smithsonian, and the extra work that our museum staff did. The banners for our local rural communities are pretty amazing. So what a great series of events that they've done with that, and go check it out. It's a great display that really talks a lot about, shows a lot of insight into rural America. I didn't get to attend 2 events, but I want to thank them for the invites and the events. And that was the opening for the Superior Community Center. Unfortunately, my son had a football game right around the same time, and I couldn't attend. And I also was a little bit late and wasn't able to attend the silent witness program put on 2 weeks ago from the YWCA, and I've heard nothing but great about that event. Commissioner Shaenfeld was able to attend, and that event has always been near and dear to my heart. About 8 years ago, I lost a dear friend who I'd worked with for many years, and in a domestic violence situation. Kelly Davidson was her name, and her family was at that event. They're from Kemmer, and so I just think that's a great program. And I know that want to thank them for putting that on and doing a fantastic job. I wish I could have been there. I was able to attend the Faith in Blue event, which was a great event, well attended for a first time event that combined the Sweetwater County Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol, and then Rock Springs and Green River Police, and a lot of local clergy. They attended that event. It kind of cracked me up because one of the clergy members they invited up after the Sheriff Grossnickel and Chief Jarvie and Pacheco spoke. They invited all local clergy to come up and give words. And one of the clergy members says, I think this is a mistake to give clergy people open mic on Sunday afternoon. We could be here all day, but it was a great event and well attended. And it really brought the beginning of the concept of bringing the community to have conversations with local law enforcement. Outside of that, have met with a lot of public works, purchasing, HR, grants. Christina and I continue to meet on every Thursday to go over ARPA funding and other situations. And Mary, I think, is going to try to join us this week. And that's going to be awesome to have Mary involved in that. Also, Rick Lee at the chamber, just catching up with where they're at the chamber. So, and then various constituencies, which where I'm going to end at. Lots of constituents, conversations, mostly surrounding the general purpose tax. And I don't think I can go to the grocery store, Faith in Blue, to a little league football game, to a high school football game without that having to be the primary discussion. In fact, I've started going to the grocery store at 7 a.m. and maybe I can dodge some people that way, but that has been the discussion. And I just want to go back to my stance from the beginning of this was, you know, I voted for it to go through to let people vote and go out and vote, get educated. Commissioner Shanfield has shared a little bit about revenue decline and those things of why it's needed. And I know there are plenty of concerns out there also that people have brought up. Talk to people, get educated, and make the vote you feel is best. I am going to open up some office hours in the next week, just in case people do, to be a little more accessible. If people have questions, pro or negative about the tax. And if you're not for it, talk to me about it. And maybe down the road, if we can look at other options and kind of meet at the table. But I'm going to be at the commission office, and I'll put this out on Facebook and other medias too. On the 21st, which is this Thursday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. I'm going to actually be at Coltrane Coffee in Green River from 8 to 9 on the 26th, and the 28th from 8 to 9 at Rock Springs Coltrane Coffee to have open forum. And so if you have questions, let me know. But I think the importance is get out and vote. I mean, whether you're for it or you're against it, this is your chance to govern your own government. People talk about lessening public, high level government. This is your chance to kind of provide your voice and provide what you think should happen. So that's all I have at this point.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Any comments, commissioners? Questions? Very good. Thank you. I'm up next, and I'll just start out with also going back to the Waco conference. As Commissioner Tolman mentioned, the County Commissioners Association is sponsoring the Wyoming Congressional Tour Initiative proposal, and where those tours will take place, and they'll bring in, invite congressional subcommittee members or that to come to the county and visit us. Again, too, as Commissioner Tolman mentioned, the County Association Board is looking at how to fund this to invite those people and pay expenses. One is for whenever the tours are, there's over 5 years, they'll cover 5 areas of Wyoming. Of the 23 counties, they're basically Bighorn Basin, Northeast Wyoming, Western Wyoming, South Central Wyoming, and Southeast Wyoming. And of course, we're South Central Wyoming, so there'd be 4 of us, but they feel the cost of that is going to be about $25,000 each year. And the way they're talking about that, the way they talked about funding these tours was each group that sponsored would come up with $25,000 each year, or break it out and add it to our dues, where all of us pay approximately $2,500 a year in addition to our WCCA dues. So the board really looked at that. The conversation was heavy, and the board supported spreading it out over everybody $2,500 a year. So with our WCCA dues, we will see a increase in that area. An additional to our dues will be a payment for this tour. And you can see that the cost, no, you can't see because I've got the paperwork here. And what I'll do is I'll have Sally make a copy of it and make sure everybody gets a copy so they can look at it. But they did do it in, I believe, the Northeast. They had a tour this last year, and there were congressional subcommittee delegates who keep the congressional people informed about topics. And when topics come up about public lands, come up about Wyoming specifically, energy and all that, these subcommittee people are the ones that basically do the research and do the recommendations and everything. And they felt that because of their visit here to Wyoming, they were better informed when they went back to DC for the legislature to start. So the tours would take place on downtime, and then invite those members who have time now, that would have time and not be working at the district office or the DC offices in Washington. So they felt it was very successful. People went back, felt they were better informed and could help the area. So the tours will continue and that type of thing, but there will be a cost. There will be private sponsorship allowed to help fund them, as well as to help with the tours when they're here to visit. So that's the fill-in for the Congressional Tour Initiative that Commissioner Tolman brought up. I did sit in on the NACO Community Economic Development Workforce Steering Committee that I've been on for 6 years, and their focus was, of course, on the workforce training and homeless and return to work initiatives that deal with ARPA. And it was a good meeting. It was across the country. It appears everybody has the same questions, but it's moving forward. After approving our program for flu shots at the events complex at our last meeting, that afternoon, I went out there from when they were giving shots and got a flu shot. And I'm telling you what, the system they have set up out there is incredible. It's very efficient, very quick. My question to them is, they're also giving COVID shots. My question that day was, hey, how many COVID shots? And they said you couldn't believe it. The number increased immensely that day. So I do want to report that COVID vaccinations are still going on and that type of thing. And I think our county is up into the, I want to say 45% in vaccinations, a lot better than the 23 that we've been giving. So we're moving forward. And I'd like to thank Public Health for putting on those clinics for the public as well as for the employees or anybody else who shows up. Commissioner Tolman, yes, it was a privilege to attend a federal agency meeting with her, and her report is accurate, and that it was great to meet the new regional person for the BLM here. And I think we can see she's serious about the horse roundups because it's going on, I believe, or getting started. I think she's truly serious about the RMP. My only thing is I seriousness how serious is Washington about our RMP? And that's been the greatest holdup all the time as we move forward. So I guess we'll find out, but it sure would be nice to get that done. did not attend Joint Waters Power Board meeting. We still do that by Zoom. And of course, with COVID going on, the last group of individuals or workforce we'd want to see happen is our water people. So they've been working diligently to stay healthy. Also, they approved a $3.5 million bid to continue to fix the raw water reservoir in Telephone Canyon. And they did get the money to do that, and they approved it to a contract. So that'll be moving forward. And hopefully within some time, we'll have that raw water storage area to full capacity. Sat in on the community juvenile board meeting, and that with juvenile services, of course, with the grant that ended and is no longer funded, the juvenile board had primarily responsibility of oversight of that grant that would funded support services for juvenile issues in our schools and in our community. The board then decided that rather than dissolve, they would stay together and continue to work towards meeting the needs and that are necessary for juveniles, but they would have a biannual meeting instead of quarterly meeting. So they'll start biannual meetings this year or the next time around. So we know that that's a change. Commissioner Toman and all the rest of us were either in attendance or on Zoom for the county intergovernmental meeting. And I think just to report out, there's some conversation about, maybe doing something different, a meeting just to have a meeting. But I think we slowed down in our meeting process and where we'd be because of not everybody was involved or in favor of the initiatives. So I think right now, or the proposition. So I think right now the proposition, we'll see what the results of that are. And then I'm sure and hopeful that they're favorable. And if they are, then we will begin working on procedures for the possible MOUs between the towns, cities, and the county. Also, those brought up to primarily focus on the ambulance, primarily focus on the joint communications, and there was that discussion, and I believe we came to an agreement. We know how to move forward with joint communications, and I'll visit with the two mayors and see when they want to put that on our board agendas to approve opening up that contract and taking a look primarily in two arenas. The arena is the share costs, which is going to be a tough conversation and that type of thing. But also there's a clause in there that we want to have more oversight, which on the cap for funding of joint communications and that type of thing, because it is general fund money going into it. And we believe that the three entities, we believe it because county levels, commissioners, we've always believed that there needs to be more oversight rather than no oversight presently with cap funding, even though that board does work with the budget and everything, and they do a good job. But there are times when we have in the past desired, or even in the last few years desired, an entity wished to see a cut and haven't been able to get it done because we have no oversight regarding the funding. So there's an area of the contract that we want to look at that will help all of us to have better oversight. So with that, the governmental group will meet again right after the proposition on that will occur on November 2nd. I believe the group is scheduled for November 9th, Tuesday, to meet at 5:30 p.m. And we'll take a look at and see what direction we want to go with the intergovernmental meetings and that type of thing. Just want to announce, Commissioner Lloyd, an hour after the meeting, start a workshop. All right, we got thumbs up. So at the adjournment of our meeting, we will take an hour break and then we'll come back and have our workshop. With that, commissioners, I stand for any questions. No questions. Thank you very much. Commissioner Smith, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Start with Southwest Counseling. We've received a contract back with a number of suggested edits and changes, so we're continuing to work through that. The hospital is continuing to battle COVID, and the numbers are dropping with people in the hospital with COVID, and they continue to work through it and are doing an excellent job, and just really pleased with them. Have a suggested meeting with some folks later on this week and regarding ambulance and regarding ambulance, the University of Utah AirMed, who was interested in providing ambulance service, has indicated this past week they're not interested because Castle Rock did not want to participate in discussions to combine services along with them, along with medics, Sweetwater medics. So the University of Utah is not going to be interested in providing ambulance service here in Sweetwater County. I continue to my work on the governor's task force, though, on aging, and also in a subcommittee on EMS. And we've had a number of discussions lately. It got a little lively as some not a theory, but a product has come out of Cody with regionalization and some realignment of different organizations in an effort to try to streamline things and make their EMS, if not profitable, at least self-sustaining. So there's a lot of interest to see how that product will work. And there's some skepticism. There's some interest for sure. And there's some outright, no way that's going to work. So we'll see how that progresses. There's a lot of questions surrounding it. And of course, love to see that it does work, but we'll keep our ears to the ground and see how it progresses. So there are a lot of people from state levels on down to find out how that progresses. Otherwise, things have been pretty quiet on the liaison front. So that is my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Any questions for Commissioner Smith? With regard to that WCCA congressional tour that I gave Sally to make copies of, I will ask her not to make copies because I do have it in email format. So I will email it immediately upon adjournment to each one of you, and I'll carbon copy it to Sally as well. Okay. All right. Thank you, commissioners, on your reports. Executive session, no need. Pre-decisional was pulled, and we had no others. So with that, commissioners, I would entertain a motion if there's no further business. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lloyd to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned. Commissioner Lloyd, we're going to take an hour and 10 minutes. We'll come back here at 12 o'clock sharp for a workshop. Okay, Commissioner?